your video back on? Sorry, guys.
We are
Technical
back,
difficulties
I
again.
think.
Oh, I don't have your video.
Yeah, my audio's back on. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can
Hey,
hear
there
you.
he
Can you hear
is.
me?
All right. Yeah, the stream is back live. Sorry about the technical difficulties again, guys. I can only blame our ISP, I suppose. But yeah, Gyro Blade. I think I cut you off in the middle of it. So you want to just start from the top?
Yeah, we'll try that again. So it's a 3 difficulty, 3 check attack, too low for 4. Ranged E, discard a face down card from your card pool, and then draw a card. Nothing, I don't think it's terribly exciting. You doesn't roll a block. It is it is a 4 damage move, so you can combine it with like Robot Masters.
Yeah, that's a good
And
call.
I mean, if you got face down from somewhere drawing a card, I guess that's okay. Overall, I'm just not impressed with this attack.
Uh, I am. I think it's great. So I just think I see this card and I think and the first analogy that comes to mind is actually Shield Ram. So if you get face downs in your card pool, like that's basically the game giving you a cost of having one more progressive difficulty for the turn. And so this lets you take away that progressive difficulty and you get to draw a card for your trouble. Um, Sounds like Shield Ram to me, and it's also got kind of similar. I mean, it's got a similar damage number, kind of similar difficulty to block. 2 speed low is, I mean, it's if your opponent's ready for it, it's easier to block than a 3 speed high stun one, but low is a lot harder to block than high. People are a lot less prepared for it. Not having a block kind of sucks, but it is only 3 difficulties, so you can play it out pretty much whenever you want. I think it's going to be a very important card for any kind of Gyro Man deck. You play it as your first form, go down to 5 cards. Enhance with Gyro Man, go down to 4 cards, then deck up to 6. You're going to clear your face down. You're playing a 2 speed low for 4, and you have 7 cards in your hand. It's a decent place to be.
Yeah, I know. I still feel like this card's just going to be better in Gutsman. I think for everybody else, it's just a worse Shield Ram.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But, worst Shield Ram is a good company to have, and you can play it in a Shield Ram if you want to.
That's a true story.
You go, let's say, like Dancing Flash, multiple, Gyro Blade on a 5 difficulty, kick your multiple out, draw a card, play a Shield Ram on a 6, draw another card. You can go off on people. But yeah, it's
That
not a world breaker of a card by any means.
no, I just think it's kind of lackluster, and I don't think it's not a card that helps push Gyro Man through. That's for sure. Just doesn't feel good enough.
All right,
I
let's
don't
move
plan to
on.
run it.
Jump into Gyro Crush next. All right, this is a 4 difficulty, 3 control, plus 3 mid block attack, 3 speed high for 3. And it's got the air all in evil symbol. This one's a slam, and it's got a pretty insane ability. It's actually Gyro Crush 2 dot apparently. I don't know what Gyro Crush 1 was. But it says enhance, draw 1 card. This attack as a cost. This attack gets plus 1 damage for each card you've drawn this enhanced step. So this card is incredible. It is very, very good, and I think that it's. There's been a lot of cards with the slam keyword, and a lot of cards supporting slams out of J Talbane, out of um,
Alicia.
Felicia, and we'll see a little more of them later on in this set. And also the card Gemini Beam is an attack that combos on
Weep.
slams. And these cards haven't seen a ton of play because the slams that have been available are kind of low powered. Um, but one of the few slams that has seen play a little bit was Air Slam, which is a 3 high for 4, kind of similar. And if its speed is 5 or more, you got to draw a card. This card always draws a card, and it can even be bigger than that. If you draw a card with Ladies Man, DeForester, Gyro Man, any of these cards, its damage grows during that enhanced step as well. Um, I think this card's going to be a really big deal, and you're going to see a lot of it.
Mm-hmm. This card I think is fantastic. So the reason why it is Gyro Crush 2 is there was a Gyro Crush printed in the first Darkstalker set back in the old days. That it was a Victor attack
Ah, wow.
with
Okay.
multiple. Yeah. So this card having draw a card as a cost means that you're always, always, always going to get the draw a card. We've not yet printed anything in UFS that says after your opponent pays a cost, cancel it.
Yep.
So you're just always going to draw a card. They can't punish you for it because you're not playing an ability. And I mean, any card that says draw a card plus 1 damage, that just seems really good.
Yeah, this
And
card's really really good.
you can run it in a Felicia deck. It's a slam, so if you got 2 momentum, it's 3 speed. So it's a 6 high for 4, and you got to draw a card. I mean, it's very solid, and I think it warrants a +3 mid block because of how much it does.
Yeah, it says a +3 mid block, but if you're not worried about failing all your foundations, you can always just play it and try to find a different block. You can upgrade it at least to a foundation with a +3 high, a +3 off zone, and maybe you'll draw a Templar or something and just go completely off that way. So yeah, card advantage is king, boys. This is a solid little attack that'll get some damage on the board, force your opponent to block it, open you up to reversals. Everything comes with a risk, but in the meantime, you'll be up a card, and if this goes in for damage, your opponent's just going to be in really bad shape.
And the air 1% gets richer.
Sure does. All right, let's move on.
Admissions fees. This is a 2 difficulty 5 check foundation with a +3 mid block. It's unique. E, add the top card of your deck to your card pool face down. This tech gets +2 or -2 speed. Our commit. After your opponent draws 2 or more cards due to their non-character effect, draw 2 cards. So the way I see it is this foundation is our commit. After you get Templar, draw 2 cards.
Oh, it does more than that. Most of all, it does argument after your opponent uses admission fees, draw 2 cards.
We can have admissions fees wars. I mean, the PTC recently we had Weight of Memory war. Is it Weight of Memory?
Yeah, Weight of Memory.
Yeah,
It goes to war with itself.
Yeah, we had Weight of Memory wars. I actually really like admissions fees. It does go into it generates those face down cards you need to play Gyro Man support, and it does. And +2 speed's really good, especially if maybe you have to block a big move in a turn, and you add a face down to the card pool with admissions fees, and you can use Gyro Man's terrain to give your check +2 to making that control check.
Yeah, that's a really nice little synergy. I hadn't thought of those specifically together. I just think of the enhance as borrowing, as paying today, or what's the saying go? Like you're getting
I
a
will
hamburger
gladly
today.
pay Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you have one attack you really need to block, you can sell out. You can throw a card away from the top of your deck, and take one less difficulty on this block, but then the next one's going to have 2 progressive in front of it. And then you can pay off that one using a loan from the top of your deck, but then you're going to be completely up a creek. So it's kind of a cool play on the old Yoga Mastery puzzle of how many enhances do you want to cancel, but at a much lower, much more reasonable power level. So it's a really cool card, and I like it a lot. I think you'll see.
Yeah,
plenty
and
of it.
I like, I like it at rare, and I like it with a 3 mid block. So ship it.
Yep. And even if you're in a late game, or if you're playing Runica or something, you have just a million foundations to pass for things. This is a 2 difficulty Saw Blades if you don't mind that progressive difficulty clog. That's real nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Budget constraints. Is that me?
That is you.
All right. So I've got to click all my clicky things.
Clicky McClickinson.
All right. Budget constraints is a 2 difficulty 5 control foundation. It's got Gyro Man symbols and a +2 high block. So it's got a very good block. And it has an ability.
That's very good on the foundation.
E-commit. If you have drawn a card during this attack, your opponent discards 1 momentum. What the hell? Who printed this? So at the small hoop of of drawing a card. So playing a card like Ladies Man, playing anything like the Forester or Gyro Man, or it's not that hard to draw a card during an attack. There's plenty of attacks that draw you cards themselves, like Gyro, whatever we just talked about. My list only goes one way, and I forgot the name of it already. Like Tiger
Gyro
King.
Crush.
Yeah, Gyro Crush. This just turns into E-commit. Your opponent loses a valuable resource. And there's a lot of decks that really need their momentum going around these days, because it turns out momentum is fun. Hitting people. I think it's one of the killer apps of UFS is the momentum system. How landing hits gets you momentum, gets you this scarce resource, and you can also get it using specialized cards that don't do much else. But mostly it's about hitting your opponent and getting that resource. And
The air 1% gets richer.
Yeah.
Because now, in addition, all your air friends who can get a million billion momentum and draw cards, now they also get to discard your opponent's hard-earned momentum. The momentum the middle class worked really hard for. You 1% air players, I just don't get you.
Yeah. So if you
I
can
mean,
find
if
room
you
to
had
put
your
this in your
way and have a
decks,
+0 high block.
they're rigging the election, Sean.
I think, and this card is at common, so I think you're going to see this card in draft. And momentum, if you think momentum's a precious resource in constructed, just wait till you need momentum in limited.
Yeah, you're gonna find yourself under some pretty severe constraints.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you want to move
Anything
on?
else, Kevin Broberg?
Nah,
Let's move on.
it's a bummer. All right, pressure sensitive.
I think you are out of order, sir.
Oh, oh
I
my.
believe card number 26 is Master of Flight.
Yep, my list is just missing one outright. Sorry, guys.
This is a 2 difficulty, 5 control check, no block foundation with air, all, and evil. Says commit. Add 1 face down card from your card pool to the top of your deck. And if you've drawn a card during this enhanced step, this attack gets +1 damage. So this is a rare foundation. It's not unique. Commit getting a face down card from your card pool to the top of your deck could be really good if you'd stash 5 check in your card pool earlier with another character's ability. Well, another card's ability. And you can check the card you need, or you can do some fun tricks where, you have an attack as a multiple copy, you stash it on top of your deck, and then you draw it with. There's all sorts of cool shenanigans you can do with that commit. And I can't wait to see what people find to do, especially off of the all symbol. It kind of reminds me of Merciless Master, where you can kind of rearrange the top of your deck and do some shenanigans.
Yeah, just trying to find some
And then
shenanigans going on, for sure.
And then if you've drawn a card during this enhanced step, this deck gets +1 damage. There's a lot of times where you're just going to get free damage for each one of these in your staging area, because drawing cards, as we just discussed during your attack, is really, really good.
Yeah, it's never
And
a
with
bad
this
place
card,
to be. Free damage.
And with this card, Kevin, with Gutsman, if you destroy, if you put a foundation into your card pool, and then you get your Gutsman shenanigans, put this on top of your deck, you're guaranteed to check a 5.
Man, how about we put in a 6-check foundation, guarantee that 6. I like that more. We can turn Gutsman into Dr. Cossack Jr. Like put a hero's training on top of our deck. Let's go.
Yeah, all said and done, I feel like Gyro Man support is just 9 cards for Gutsman more than anything else.
Crashman was the improved design, and Gyro Man is just giving a hand to those old guys back in the closet from Mega Man 1.
Do you have any thoughts on this card that I didn't hit, Kevin Broberg?
My one thought is just that this is kind of if you're playing fair with face down card effects like admissions fees or whatever, this is kind of just Genius Alchemist for all those. It does take away 1 progressive difficulty out of your card pool, although it does make you jump through some hoops for it. In exchange, you get the second ability on it as well, and all these fun combo potential. I think this is a pretty solid card. But
lots of combo potential in Gyro Man support, I think.
All right, how about we move on to pressure sensitive? I guess I was just too excited, trying to get ahead of myself with this. All right, so pressure sensitive is a 1 difficulty 4 control foundation with no block. It's a common this time, and it's got Gyro Man symbols. It's actually a lot like Mysterious Mr. X up to a point, where it has a discard cost as well, but it's a response. Because after a card is removed from your stage card due to an opponent's effect, remove this card instead. So this is finally
the new rebirth.
Finally, the answer to Ever Hopeful we've all been hoping for. This protects.
And the 1% gets it. Sorry, it's just so bad.
Yep, your Ever Hopeful decks get to use the Ever Hopeful defense against each other. This also has a bit of an interesting interaction with cards like Self-Destruct, Mass Staging Area Destruction, where basically you choose one of your cards being destroyed. So let's say you have this and, a copy of Admissions Fees, And before admissions fees is destroyed, you respond with pressure sensitive to destroy it instead, to remove it instead, and then admissions fees stays in your staging area. But you only get to respond once before self-destruct destroys anything. You just get to choose which card you're responding to the destruction of. So this just lets you keep admissions fees in play after a self-destruct. Um, what do you think?
I mean, if it didn't have air, I think this would be great. But it has air. I mean, I don't think air needed more answers to ever hopeful. But it does stop things like somersault kick, stop self. Well, it doesn't stop self destruct, but it gets you around self destruct, gets you around somersault kick if there's something you want a face down you wanted to keep for some reason. Um, it gets you around, any destroy effect, any removal effect. So if your opponent's playing like an Trois Filante and they discard the momentum, you can make them remove this instead,
Yeah,
which is better
acts
than
of treason. And actually, you know what a big one was is this responds before a card is removed. So this lets you protect Runica's Battle Fists or any other asset in your all deck from Spine Sweep or Spinning Necro Driver or anything else.
Yeah. You got to protect your Rochester CCGs. You don't want those to get removed unless you do.
Unless you're doing the removing.
Yeah.
Imagine they weren't. Imagine they were to be like removed from the game rather than destroyed. You wouldn't even get to discard your opponent's momentum.
No, that'd be awful.
Yeah, so I think this will be a solid
Ugh.
role player. I think it's going to be a common in draft, so I think you're going to see this on a lot of decks that don't expect to ever use the response. They just want a one difficulty foundation to put into their staging area.
Yeah.
All right, any parting thoughts?
Is momentum considered to be in your staging area? No, momentum is in a special pocket dimension. However, the attachment zone is in your staging area now.
The momentum pocket dimension is just called your momentum. It's just a different zone. All right,
Let's
I'm
move
moving
on
on.
to Nightman. Nightman is a 6 difficulty character, 6 hand size, 28 vitality with Death, Earth, and Order. I feel like Death made out really, really well in this set. F once per turn. Your next slam or weapon attack this turn gets plus X damage. X equals the highest printed difficulty on a card in your opponent's card pool. Archimate a Foundation. After you block an attack, that attack does not clear from your opponent's card pool during the end phase. This guy is going to be a miserable guy to play against. He did not. If he blocks, he denies you momentum. Even on a partial block, he can deny your momentum, and he clogs up your card pool. So he's just going to be miserable. He's going to keep your big attacks in your card pool, and if he plays a reversal and you've played like a Gamma Crush or a Flying Fortress Buster, his reversal is going to be really big, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Oh, well, that is an F once per turn, right? So it's just going to be a normal size. It's going to be. I mean, it's going to get pumped by whatever he's doing. But
Yeah,
but
you're
that
right. You're
next
right. Because
slammer weapon
it
thing
is on
doesn't
a form.
qualify.
I do lie, but yeah. If it comes back to your turn and he attacks you with something big, I mean, giving your attack plus 7 damage
Mm-hmm.
could be really good, especially if your follow up attack is, maybe a throw that's already at 7 damage.
Well, it's got to be a slam or a weapon, right, to get that damage
It
pumped.
does. However, there is
We'll
an
we'll get
attack
there.
in his
We'll get
support
there. We'll get
that
there.
turns into a throw.
Give him something to look
But
forward
yeah, I
to.
think that I like this guy. He's going to be really, really powerful, and he's going to be miserable. He's going to be a tough character to beat.
Cool. I'm glad you're excited. I don't know if I buy it,
What
but
do you got to say about him, Kevin Burberg?
well, I just think that I don't like committing foundations when my opponent's already hitting me in the face. That seems awfully risky. And if I don't expect to be able to land an attack on my own turn, that's just no benefit whatsoever. And how am I going to land an attack? I'm playing slams and weapons, and they're not super fast. I'm just a 6 hand size everyman character. It's not helping me land any hits. That R commit, it's cool. It does not have the momentum. That's a good angle, but then it's basically just my attacks get +1 speed, and maybe they're not. I mean, if I'm playing Earth, Death, and Order, I don't associate those with super fast attacks that are hard to block. I just imagine
Well,
playing Felicia and Athena and other insane decks like that, and my opponents still block, and I'm still sometimes irritated by how good they are at blocking. Not to mention playing Nightman and never landing a hit at all.
Well, I imagine a world where Nightman has the Earth symbol and Gavrick's throws are still legal for another 3 months.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's nothing here. I'm just saying I don't know if I buy the hype around this character, and so that's great. That I mean, maybe you'll prove me wrong. I hope you prove me wrong. I think that's the most exciting part of UFS. All right,
Come on, Kevin, drink the Kool-Aid.
I'm
Drink the Kool-Aid.
I'm pulling up a card I do like, which is Flail and Shield. Sorry, I've got too many windows. All right, so this is a 1 difficulty, 5 control asset. It's a unique weapon with a +1 mid block, so it's got an excellent block. And it reads, F commit, your opponent adds the top card of their deck to their momentum. What? Choose one of their momentum and add it to their card pool face up. Oh, okay. So if your opponent has no momentum, you get to stuff whatever you get to stuff the top card of the deck into their card pool. But if they do have momentum, you can replace it with the top card of their deck. And crucially, I think it has a Nightman response. After you block with this card, discard all cards played as blocks from your card pool and draw 1 card. So what I love about this card is that it's a Templar. It's a specialized block that's extremely good at defense, and for Nightman specifically anyway. That response is extremely good. It replaces itself, it draws you a card, and it also takes away all your progressive difficulty from blocking. So it's not quite as good as drawing 2 and gaining 2 life with Templar plus Breaker, but it's close. And then on top of that, when you don't, like when your hand has 3 awesome attacks you don't want to play right now, you want to hold on to for the future, this doesn't clog your hand up. You can just play it as a form and have a very good asset in your staging area. So the fact that Nightman has access to the maximized Flail and Shield, I think is a big deal to push his character forward. I think that form ability can be quite good in other characters too. Team Fatal Fury is happy to see it. A 1 difficulty card that turns on all of their abilities, that's pretty awesome. But this card is definitely at its best in Nightman.
Yeah, the dream for me with this card is to sit down across from Giggles playing Snake Man and take the nice Murakumo he just stuffed into his momentum and put it into his card pool.
And then plow his face in with +6 damage. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the dream for me with this card. The F is really good, especially if you're playing decks that do loop their momentum, that rely on playing the same attacks over and over and over again, fetching them from their momentum. This hurts a lot of Snake Man's cards. I mean, if your opponent gets a Surveyor, and their plan is to just play like Spinning Necro Driver or Death Valley Face Plan until the end of time, and being able to get rid of that, seems really good. The only downside is if they are looping Spinning Necro Driver, this card will never see the light of day.
It's tough to sneak it in there on time. Yeah.
So, but yeah, anybody who's like using tricks, like the Vice cards that let you grab back your momentum, stuff like that.
Yep.
This card is really good to get around things like that.
Yeah, I think you'll see a bunch of this card. And the fact that it's a weapon is not to be missed either. I'm not sure it'll quite matter for a lot of. Actually, no, it does matter. I know Nightman has some cards that care about that. So definitely a card to keep an eye on. Even though it's a unique asset, you should not be unhappy when you get multiple copies of this card because it is so good. I think it's a absolutely crucial part of Nightman's defensive strategy.
And I think this card's also going to be really good in Swordman.
Yep.
Yep.
That's coming up later.
He's coming up later, but I just wanted to make mention of that now.
All right, you want to move on?
Moving on. Flail Strike. This is a 4 difficulty, 3 check attack with a +1 mid block with the reversal and weapon keyword. Too high for 4. If this attack is not blocked, choose a card in your opponent's card pool. It does not clear from their card pool during the end phase. So this, I think, just builds on Nightman's theme a little bit, with you keeping things in your opponent's card pool that they may not necessarily want to be in there. So this is like Nightman's thing, except you do get to block and take no damage.
Yep.
If they don't block this reversal. So you can block, you play a Flail Strike. Do they really want to not take 4 damage? Well, they're going to have to block if they really don't want to get if they want to get their momentum at the end of the turn, or if they don't want their giant move to come back and bite them on the next turn either.
Yeah, for Nightman specifically, the ability on a reversal isn't quite so relevant because you probably just use his response most of the time. but it's really cool that a character like King or Team Fatal Fury now has access to this sort of ability where you can lock a card in your opponent's card pool and force them to block, or else they're going to start turning on all of your card pool matters stuff on your own turn. And I think it's really important this card just can be played as a normal form on your own turn. If your opponent blocks your first attack, now they're really kind of priced into blocking this too. It's better be a full block, or else they're going to have to deal with +1 progressive difficulty for their entire turn. Um, and that ability is very, very disruptive. It's really hard to go after someone's life total when you start with just a dead card sitting in your card pool.
Yeah, and it's a weapon, and if you really want to make your opponent miserable, you can play Hanya with Nightman and all of his toys.
Ooh, mama. Don't hurt
Thank you
him.
to the chat for that.
Don't hurt him.
So I think this is a very solid 4 difficulty move. It is at rare, so you probably won't see it in your draft pods for limited, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of those running around a couple weeks after the set drops.
Yeah, I think this is a really great design, and yeah, it'll be fun to see how people want to maximize this the most. All right, up next we've got Night Crusher. Oh boy, I'm getting to read all of the cool cards today, Sean. So
I know,
this
you're so
is
lucky.
we've got not the greatest picture here, but we'll read it for you. It's a 5 difficulty 3 control attack. It's a weapon with combo of 2 weapons with a +1 high block and a 3 speed mid for 7 damage. This is a bit of a unique card that has 2 combo abilities. The first one is Combo E. This attack gains throw for the rest of the turn. And then, secondly, Combo E. Your opponent discards all cards from their card pool. This attack gets +3 damage for each card discarded.
Whew.
So, yeah, this thing can deal.
I've got the vapors.
Yeah, this card can probably represent a 20 damage throw. A pretty good portion of the time you play it. It really makes Nightman into somewhat appropriately a deck that's going to want to play a lot of weapon cards to get that weapon combo going on. But yeah, if your opponent's blocking and not using self-clearing blocks, they're just going to have a very bad time against this card. This is the way that Nightman finishes people off for sure. And 3-speed mid isn't such a slouch that it's going to be completely trivial to block this either. Especially if you can speed it up with some of the tools that I know. I think Order has. Death might have a couple too as well.
And I think it's important. It's important to note that this is the only kind of throw card in this set, if I remember correctly. And there are some people out there who think throws are the end-all, be-all to everything. But having a 7 damage throw on a 5 difficulty is really good. That's a good rate. And being able to give it so much damage, that effectively is giving you powerful 3 for cards in your opponent's card pool. And no designer in their right mind would normally put powerful 3 on a throw.
Yeah, so
and then,
actually, that's an interesting analogy. Because I just saw in the chat someone brought up that Jada can play this card.
Jada can play this card. And Earth, already has the ability to make some really, really big moves. They've got things like large and scary looking, which can pack on another 3 damage. And just cards like that the move just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And once it turns into a throw, you better hope you have an Omni block or a Videophobia, because that could wipe out half your life total, even on a partial block.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a card you'll see putting people at dead on half block range in a lot of tournaments. So I didn't quite analyze what this card, quite the amount of damage potential that Nightman's going to have around this. I think this card might be changing my mind on Nightman already. I'll be honest.
Well, remember, you can run him with other other weapon characters too, like Swordman.
You're absolutely right. All right, let's try to move along. See if we can get to Swordman tonight.
I don't think that's going to happen, big guy.
No.
So on to, I guess, less exciting cards, because I'm not as lucky as Kevin Broberg. Night Slam. 5 difficulty, 3 check with a +2 mid block, 4 mid for 6. Slam weapon. This attack gets +2 damage if there is a card in your opponent's card pool. And if you're playing Nightman and there's no cards in your opponent's card pool, you done fucked up. But even on a 5 difficulty, 4 mid for 6 it's respectable. And at common, you're going to see this in your draft pods. And if people play it, it's going to be a 4 mid for 8 if you've already played an attack this turn. And attacking is really, really good and limited.
Yep.
So overall, I think it's a respectable card.
Yeah, this is a solid role player. You get pretty much what it says on the tin. It's got slam, it's got weapons. So if you care about either of those, that's great. It's got a solid block and it's got big numbers. It's definitely a card you want to be playing more limited than in constructed. But just sneaking in 8 damage here and there, it's a good way to win games.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I think that's about it.
moving right along. Let's talk about 1,000 duels. So this is a 2 difficulty 5 control foundation. It's a rare with a +3 high block, Nightman symbols, Death, Earth, and Order. And I think it's going to be a really important role player for Nightman decks. So it has one ability: your turn, flip. Reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Add all revealed slam or weapon cards to your hand and discard the rest. So this card just really it gives you some payoff to playing a lot of weapons the way that Nightman does, and also just lets you in kind of a weird way, it lets you store attacks in your staging area, which just means that if you play the game out, you maybe play 18 attacks in your deck, and you draw about proportionally how many you'd expect to draw for a 6-hand size, drawing as many cards as you draw over the course of the game. But if you get two or three of these in your staging area, you can suddenly go from finding your stacking up for hoarding for several turns, having 3 or 4 attacks in your hand, to having a 6 attack string because you just flip all these over and dig into a bunch of weapons on top. I think it's a really important card.
Yeah, I think this card is going to be really important. It's going to be good in Nightman. The chat mentioned that it might be good in Ryu, where, I mean, if you have Earth Foundations, if you have Earth Foundations with the weapon keyword, which I can't think of any right now, but if you can find ways to put cards on top of your deck and draw them and put them back again, or you simply could just draw more cards to make Ryu kill people. Searching for Family, not nearly as good as Searching for Family. Kevin Broberg is an expert on Searching for Family. But I think this card's solid. It's going to help Nightman get up and over. And at rare, it's going to be a $3-4 card.
Yeah, card advantage is kind of a weird place in UFS, but ultimately it still is king, and this card just lets you get a little bit of card advantage on Earth, Death, and Order.
And remember, kids, Sagaki offering is an order attack with the weapon keyword. I'd be pretty happy to reveal 1 or 2 of those on top of my deck.
Doesn't have order.
Doesn't? So bad. I'm so bad at this. I just figured I had Satoshi, so I had to have order.
Saranagiri and Karamedama are, though.
Karamedama is super good.
All
right, moving on. Now that I look like an idiot again. I can't mess up reading. For Chivalry and Honor, 2 difficulty 4-check foundation with Death, Earth, and Order. R flip, after your opponent plays an attack, its damage cannot be modified. I cannot wait till the first time one of my big, slow throws gets blocked and my opponent reversals with Navos.
I love when my opponent's reversaling with Navos. That's just pretty much my favorite time in all of history is just eating a big fat Navos in the middle of my own turn. But
for Chivalry and Honor, it's only ever going to be 6 damage.
Oh, you're right.
Or is it printed 5? I don't remember.
Oh no, it's a 6.
Yeah, because so our flip, after you play an attack, after your opponent plays attack, it can't be modified. Its damage can't be modified. Sucks for Navos. It's 6 damage. Period. No matter how many enhances you play.
Yeah, I like this kind of as a mirror of Kapokan training. Just flip and take away a whole lot of options for your opponent's attack.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's especially good for attacks that do pump themselves, like Navos, like maybe Nightcrusher.
Yeah.
But
definitely... I mean, there's a lot of attacks that can just get bigger, and if you can't deal with it, if your opponent plays an off attack that you don't have a block for, and they tend to make it just turn it down.
Yep, and I think that the one thing to be careful with this card is that if you're playing against a character like Mai or, I don't know, someone else who has a lot of damage pumps in their staging area, they're going to be completely ineffective against this because they can just hold off on it and wait. Maybe the timing. Maybe they'll also have another good attack to follow up with later, and pile all those pumps onto.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, and I think with characters with stuff that does pump in the staging area, this card can save you if you caught in a non-full lock situation. That's what I really like about it. In that kind of situation.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a very good
Anything else for
card.
this one, Kevin Broberg?
I think it's a very good card. You'll see a lot of it, and you'll probably lose to it if you're playing a lot of damage pumps your own self. Um, but I like how it has some interesting gameplay elements. All right, let's move on.
All right, Kevin Broberg. It is now 9:29, so we will stop at card number 34. We're going to pick up tomorrow with card number 35. For those keeping track at home, that's going to be Mace Master. We'll wrap up by giving our final thoughts on the cards we've seen tonight. Kevin Broberg, anything that really stuck out to you?
I like a lot of the kind of interesting deck building choices that these cards are going to promote. I think Dr. Wily is going to be really cool and really fun to play with. I think Jarman's cards are going to go in a lot of cool decks, and I'm cautiously growing optimistic about Nightman's potential. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we went over a lot of really solid cards tonight. Seeing the rest of Dr. Wily kind of really showed off how his pieces are all going to fit together. Unfortunately, Gyro Man, as far as Gyro Man goes, was a disappointment. I think his cards are going to be really, really good for other characters. And Nightman, I'm just really excited about because Nightman's just my play style. Punishing people for attacking and playing UFS, I think that's a great time.
All right, great.
And I think with that, guys, we'll stop for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same channel, to talk about our next round of spoilers. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, take care, everyone. Bye.